Episode 68, The Dodo Bird and Python, an anthropological juxtaposition of the extinction of America. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. When the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Frank Herbert Dune.
Flawedcast. Flawedcast! Get in the arena.
Woo! America!
All right. Good morning, Johnny. Where's Johnny?
Here's Johnny.
And we got Norm.
What up, guys?
What up?
I'm in the King's Throne today.
Right.
You are. Well,
We're missing. We have a pipe under his down.
yeah, well, oddly enough, he told us last week that if he didn't behave himself, that he would be abducted again. And I don't know where he is. I haven't heard from him in a couple of days. So,
Well,
Johnson, what's your theory?
I have some theories, but I received this weird audio file, and it might be our guy, it might not be our guy, but I just kind of give you the playback for this.
When they took him up in the spaceship, the aliens abused him sexually.
So take it for what you will. I hope that's not our man. But
I don't know. That's very esoteric. That could be taken many different ways.
maybe he doesn't even mind. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe.
I was a little jealous, so I visited the mothership on purpose this morning. That's why I only got 2 hours of sleep, looking for some fun. But you know what's odd? Jason hasn't sat in the seat for like a week, and it's still warm.
That's because he takes off his shirt every episode.
Brother.
Like George Costanza from Seinfeld.
I love the guy like a brother, but that's so disturbing to me. Anyway, so want to welcome and thank everybody to a brand new, fun-filled, fact-filled episode of Flawedcast. And just to get the preliminaries out of the way, we want to thank everybody who has who's subscribed and shared. Our follows on Gab and Instagram have continued to increase. We're
Like my
thankful for
cholesterol.
that. Yeah, like my blood pressure. And we've got a gaggle full of new subscribers on Rumble, so we thank you guys for that. You can find us anywhere that podcasts are found. Apple, Spotify. We are on YouTube. We are on Rumble. We're on YouTube for now, I should say.
Are you ready to rumble?
Flawedcast CLE. Our website's flawedinc.com. You can find my daily Flawed vlogs there. And info@flawedinc.com is our email address. We are currently on Project Mockingbird social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are on Gab. And MeWe. As our custom, we will do, I'm not going to be able to do it as well as Jason, but take your...
Yeah, he says take your right hand,
right
put it
hand,
over your left nipple, I believe.
Hold on before we do that.
Gentlemen, hold your nuts.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
More God.
There it is.
God.
There it is. All right. So this is a tricky title, and I did that purposefully because I want you guys to engage.
If you wanted Norman and I to
Just
stumble
stay
over
tuned for the blooper reel at the end.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's going to be longer than the episode, I think.
Anthropological
Right.
germination.
It was special. You'll witness some of it.
Anti-sexual tuxedo position.
Oh my God.
That's what she said.
In terms of these single ladies, I'm going to ask you to defer your comments to me, but to Norm this week. So.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Oh, the single ladies. Oh, the single. All right, I'm on 2 hours of sleep, so you got to slap Happy Norm today. All right, let's do this.
Just give him a little smack.
Done told him twice.
Just give him a little smack.
Just give Norm a little schmuck.
Yes.
This episode is meant to engage our wonderful and loyal listeners into the exercising their mental capacity to think three-dimensionally as if we are in a political and real-world game of chess.
Ooh.
Yes. This is going to be a highly philosophical episode, but I believe that the point ultimately is that America, much like the dodo bird, is extinct.
On that note,
Now you just somebody that I used to know.
Somebody. Well,
I'm going to miss you, America.
yeah.
Mark.
We actually taps would have been a little more appropriate.
Yeah.
we're going to discuss the dodo bird. I know that's a commonly used phrase that people use to describe lunacy, idiocy.
Heard a lot at my house.
Well, the initial comparison is the dodo bird was extinct because it had no natural predators. America has been so blessed for so long that we have not had any kind of trial tribulation. We've not had anything to fortify the fact that liberty, freedom are values that are not only divinely instilled and given to us, but they are worth fighting for.
Now our natural predators is our own government. And did I say that out loud?
Son of a bitch.
I'm going to read James chapter 1, verses 2 to 4. This is from the Amplified. It says, "Consider it nothing but joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you fall into various trials. Be assured that the testing of your faith through experience produces endurance, leading to spiritual maturity and inner peace. And let endurance have its perfect result, and do a thorough work so that you may be perfect and completely developed in your faith, lacking in nothing." So, as we see there is a process that we need to endure hardships. We need to endure trials so that we can be mature, we can be tested, we can be proven. And in America, we've not had that. I am as much to blame as anybody, although the last 4 years of my life was kind of a poop show. But nonetheless, I'm here, and I'm still angry and cantankerous as ever.
Can't quit you, Billy.
Can't quit you, John. All right, Johnson, let's get into the dodo bird.
Dodo.
Or doo-doo.
Dodos. Rhaphis cucullatus. The dodo, scientific name Rhaphis cucullatus, was a flightless bird that lived in the serene island of Mauritius. The origin of that name, dodo, is debatable. Some believe it came from the Dutch, dodars, which means stumpy tail, while others claim that it is derived from the Portuguese, doido, which means like a fool. Dodos were endemic and exclusive to the island of Mauritius, but based on the habitat and ecosystem of that island, their bodies were adapted perfectly to survive there. Fortunately, dodos had no natural predators. Some biologists opine that they lost all ability to fly due to the absence of such predators. Adapting to life without flight led to a series of anatomical changes. Their wings became smaller, and their tail became stumpy. Moreover, dodos laid their eggs directly on the ground, which later posed a threat to the unborn when humans and their pets arrived on the island. How were dodo birds discovered? Many historical texts suggest that Arab explorers visited the island of Mauritius before the 16th century, but they didn't take note of the dodo. The first documented account of the dodo was made by the sailors of the Dutch East India Company of 1601.
Isn't that the same company that Captain Jack Sparrow?
Captain Jack Sparrow. Where's the rum?
Yeah, well, I can do some this morning.
He rode sea turtles.
How and when did the dodo go extinct? Debated hotly by biologists, the dodo went extinct at the end of the 17th century for 3 possible reasons, or some combination of them. The first, arrival of humans. Before the arrival of humans on Mauritius, the species had no natural predators. Due to their inability to adapt to the imminent threats and tactfully escape, they became a very easy target for explorers on excursions to the island. Unabated hunting by sailors and explorers were the main reasons why the dodos went extinct. Second, the arrival of an invasive species. The Western explorers and sailors didn't come to the island of Mauritius alone. They also brought foreign animals like rats, cats, dogs, pigs, etc. In the new habitat of Mauritius, these animals became invasive for the poor dodos, who had zero experience dealing with them. As mentioned earlier, dodos laid their eggs directly on the ground, so many of these foreign animals raided the dodo's nest and fed on their young and unborn. Kind of feels familiar. It feels like somebody's raiding on our young and unborn.
Now you see the connection?
When we're dodos. La 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 la. Humans and foreign animals made this endemic creature a hostage in its own habitat. Also feels eerily familiar. The third theory is shrinking of a natural habitat. My wife complains about that all the time. As the explorers explored deeper into the island, the natural resources were exploited and harvested, which harmed not only the dodos, but other endemic species and plants, ultimately paving the way for the extinction of this eccentric bird. Human invasion, loss of habitat, and the threat from foreign animals are the 3 main reasons why dodos went extinct.
Now, don't some of those just hit a little
too close to home.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you kind of see where I'm trying to go with this.
Give me 3 steps. Give me 3 steps.
Give me 3 shots. Whoop, that's one too many. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
We replaced dodos, much like Satan does. He replaced
With
dodos
progressives?
other Yeah, well, that's where I was going, but you beat me to the punch.
Norman,
Yes.
let's talk about one of your favorite shaped animals, the python.
Yes. Pythons are my favorite.
My anaconda wants none, unless you got buns, son.
I am far from an anaconda, but... Alrighty then. How do snake constrictors kill their prey? By signing executive orders. Oh, sorry. I thought there was a punchline there.
Son of a bitch. bitch.
How do snake constrictors kill their prey? Snakes have no limbs or claws to overpower their prey. Some, like cobras and vipers, use venom to kill, while others, like checkered keelback water snakes, swallow frogs alive. But large snakes, like pythons and boas, need large meals. Swallowing, kicking pigs, and fighting deer alive would be impossible without getting grievously hurt in the struggle. The only weapon at their disposal is muscular strength. Pythons and boa constrictors strike and grab their prey. While 6 rows of sharp hooked teeth grip the animal firmly, the snake throws 2 or 3 loops of its muscular body, coils around the victim's torso like a straitjacket. The coils tighten until the poor animal becomes lifeless. How does squeezing kill the animal? Seconds after the snakes wrap their coils tightly around the rats, the scientists watch with amazement as the blood circulation shuts down. With no blood flowing, the brain, liver, and heart were starved of oxygen. The heartbeat became erratic. The boas took no longer than 8 minutes to kill the rats.
So once again, we have a interesting way of the animal killing its prey. It doesn't inject poison. It doesn't necessarily swallow them whole. What it does is it grabs a hold of it, it wraps itself around it, and starts to squeeze, cutting off the precious supply of blood, which eventually kills their oxygen. So there's the metaphor. The metaphor is there's this bird that had no natural predators, new things were introduced into its environment, and it could not adapt to the threats that were blatantly in its face. An entire species was annihilated within a relatively short amount of time because of their absolute inability to adapt and learn how to survive. Why I'm saying this is an anthropological juxtaposition is because as we can look at the animal world, we can also see that there's many comparisons, easy comparisons, I believe, to current American society. I have a list here of, I would say, maybe the top 4, top 5 killers in the last 100 years, and I want you to take note of when these people were in power. So we'll just start at the top.
Number 1.
Although his kill count isn't nearly as high as some of these others, I don't know that he rightfully should be number 1. So number 1 is Adolf Hitler, who estimated to have killed over 15 million people, and he lived from 1889 to 1945 when he allegedly took his life.
Number 2.
Joseph Stalin, who killed over 40 million. So, obviously we can see that it's more infamy, not numbers. I mean, we're going numbers. Joseph Stalin isn't anywhere close to the next guy here.
Number 3.
Mao Zedong. He was installed by the CIA in the 1950s, and these are all estimated numbers, killed anywhere from 65 million to over 100 million of his fellow countrymen. So this guy is the ding, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Number 4.
Pol Pot, who at some point estimated they killed up to 25% of the Cambodian population. Now,
is that all? Just a quarter
that's
of the...
it. That's it. But nonetheless, the point here is that in America, we don't have this. We take these liberties, we take the things that we've been given absolutely for granted. And taking them for granted, we don't realize is that we are always one generation away from losing our liberty. Now, I have been saying this for a long time. We have already lost many of our liberties, many of our freedoms. I don't know how to wake people up anymore. And it's getting to the point where it's like, what the hell do I do? What do I say? Because
Can't even pee in public anymore.
You can't?
They won't let you. Put you in the hokey.
I can't say that ever stopped me, but I can't say that it hasn't. Anyway.
At least we can still pee in private.
Right.
For now. I'm going to read another verse here. Revelation 12:9. This is from the Amplified. It said, "And the great dragon was thrown down, the age-old serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, who continually deceives and seduces the entire inhabitant of the world. He was thrown down to earth with his angels, and they were thrown down with him." So here's the thing. We are desperately trying to convey to you that we are in this place. I don't know how to genuinely wake people up to the fact. We have this untested serum that is being injected into people, and you can do what you like, but when I hear things like you're not going to be able to travel, you're not going to be able to work, you're not going to be able to buy, sell, or trade, enter stores unless you have this.
666, the number of the beast.
Well, and that's the thing, Norman. It literally reminds me of that Revelation 13 system. Like, speaking to a lot of Christians, it honestly, I don't know how it doesn't. I don't know how it can't. Oh, it's not a thing on your forehead or your... Okay. Are we talking about a metaphorical system because the entire book of Revelation is absolutely allegorical and metaphorical? Or are we just supposed to say, hey, listen, wake up, pucker your cheeks, sweetheart, because there might be something coming down the pike very soon? And all this is preconditioning, right? This is all just getting us ready. The one mask was getting us ready for the 2 masks. The nose swab was getting us ready for the anal swab. So
it's coming to a Target near you. Accessorize.
Excuse me, Target lady, I'm next. swab me next. No, it's my turn.
The man with the rubber
Sir,
glove was
you've had
president.
12 today already.
I'll read this next one because I love this so much. Biden dismisses China's Uyghur genocide as difference in cultural norms.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Mind blowing. This
It
is,
shouldn't be, though.
Yeah, this is actually fact. Like he actually.
This was just this week.
Yeah.
This was a CNN town hall.
Yeah, this is not a flawed cast like story that we're just making up or.
It's not
Like we always do.
Yeah.
Like Bill usually.
This is not the
Reckless
opinion. This is
speculation.
actually something your president said. Joe Biden.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Your president's.
Yeah. No, he's your president.
No, yours president.
No, you.
Not only do you want him to sniff you, but you want him to anal swab you too.
Come on, man.
Come on.
Can he sniff me and anal swab me at the same time?
Oh, if there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
Oh, this is America.
And now, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Biden dismisses China's Uyghur genocide as difference in cultural norms. Joe Biden refused to denounce China's Uyghur genocide during his CNN appearance last night, asserting that this communist country's systematic oppression of minorities was just a different cultural norm. Yes, really. Despite the Trump administration and his own characterizing Beijing's treatment of Uyghur Muslims as a genocide, Biden furiously backpedaled after he was asked about the issue. If you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world is when they haven't been unified at home, said Biden, going on to say that President Xi Jinping is aiming to achieve a tightly controlled China. I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong. Oh, why would you?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Because they line his pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
Reckless speculation.
I mean, I'm just like,
Norm's triggered. I love it.
Yeah. It's the seat. I'm telling you.
I'm about to have my own sound off. Okay, I'll continue with his quote. I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in the western mountains of China. Culturally, there are different norms that each country and their leaders are expected to follow, he added.
You know, it's great. Like, if that mentality had existed back in, like, the world wars.
Well, first and foremost, he's not going to speak about the legitimate systematic oppression of the Uyghur Muslims, Christians, Buddhists in these slave labor camps. We've actually talked about this on previous episodes.
About the women that are being sterilized and gang raped.
Well, yes. However, that's none of our concern, Norm.
It wasn't our concern in World War II either.
We
and
can't
cultural
speak-
norms.
Right. But the other thing is that isn't there a great something around China?
There's a great. Oh, wait.
Great. What the heck?
Bring down that wall.
It's just a cultural
There's a
norm.
great wall around D.C. right now.
Think about why there
go to
are
the castle.
over 30,000 troops in D.C. right now. Why would that be?
Because that evil man Donald Trump was inciting a riot. That's why.
Maybe.
I heard that.
He's a villain. Okay, so obviously we see that the most popular president ever elected in American history is saying that it is okay for slave labor camps. It's okay to have a wall. It's okay to enforce their cultural norms.
We don't care about statues.
But not America. Johnny, I want you to get into this one.
You
And
want me to talk about climate change?
yeah, well,
Okay. I don't know that I'm going to need it. You're going to get it ready just in case. My shotgun and my duct tape.
I have the same scientific experience that Bill Gates has.
you wear pink sweaters a lot?
And big glasses. That's the extent of our experience. Me and Bill Gates together would probably make 1/4 of a real scientist. Thanks for the computer, bud. Save the planet.
Exactly. How to solve climate change. Bill Gates wants you to know two numbers. Two shots, two numbers.
Don't you see a
There's
cycle?
little
You see a
bit-
pattern?
Fire two numbers, he says. Bill Gates wants you to know two numbers. 51 billion and 0. The former is the number of tons of greenhouse gases typically added to the atmosphere each year as a result of human activities, such as farting in public. The latter is the number of tons we need to get to by 2050 in order to avert a climate crisis.
Just that right there, if you are a discerning individual, should understand when he talks about greenhouse gases, what he really means is carbon.
Yep.
Now, here's the difficult thing, guys. When it comes to history, when it comes to things like that, I'm on point. My brain just functions that way. When it comes to science, when it comes to things like that, I not so much. But
You defer?
yes, but I do believe, I could be wrong, aren't we carbon-based life forms?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And don't we breathe in
Yes, we do.
oxygen and
Speak
exhale
for yourself.
carbon?
I'm made out of vibranium.
And don't don't we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon?
We inhaled oxygen and excrete the deadly stuff that would kill us.
And the trees eat carbon.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So
But we've killed all the trees, Bill.
Actually, if you want to know what I think, once again, I am not a scientist, but I think maybe limiting or slowing down deforestation might be a more viable option. And later in this article, he actually says he wants to get down to zero emission, to zero carbon.
By 2050.
Just on that note, though, we were talking about trees. Do you remember when we were kids, though, they were talking about the deforestation stuff and the rainforest and all that? We had to stop paper production and all. Now the oceans are filled with plastic, you know? I mean...
It's all volleyball. It's all a setup. They set it up, and then somebody else spikes it home, and then the game's over.
It's these practical things that we could do.
If we still had paper bags and glass bottles, we'd probably be better off.
No, we would be. And actually, it's more sustainable and cheaper in the long run.
Yeah.
However, we used to recycle. And I remember having a conversation with the guy. And I'm like, yeah, where do you take all this stuff? He goes, listen, China used to buy all of our recyclables, but they don't anymore. So we normally end up just burning the stuff or throwing it in the trash. So I do applaud, and I do think there is a lot of merit to recycling. However, like Norm said, just simple things like using a paper bag, using glass, even like aluminum or things that are more sustainable and naturally
They can actually be recycled. Glass can be melted down and reused.
Absolutely, yeah.
Paper can be recycled or disintegrated. It can be burned and
it's biodegradable.
Yeah.
This is what I want to challenge you. Think, why is that?
The climate change is a money grab and a fear tactic.
You're 100% right. It is to kneecap American industry that China will be the global dominant force, which is, oddly enough, if you don't mind, Norman, we could get into next.
Norman.
Biden's order could let China control U.S. electric grid. Biden, who long has been accused by critics of being soft on China, issued a lengthy executive order in which, buried amid matters purportedly designed to combat climate change, was an anomalous and potentially dangerous provision. The provision in question addresses nothing reasonably connected to climate change. Instead, it suspends for 90 days a key security measure put in place last May 1st by former President Donald Trump. Biden's suspension of Trump's measure makes not the slightest sense. Trump's executive order 13920 declared a national emergency with respect to the nation's electrical grid and prohibited the acquisition or installation of any bulk power electric equipment designed, developed, manufactured, or supplied by persons owned by, controlled by, or subject to the jurisdiction or direction of a foreign adversary. In sum, Trump forbade the use of grid equipment that is made in China, Russia, or other hostile nations. Oh wait, I thought he was colluding with... Trump's order was a common sense response to real, proven threats.
Can you say that again?
Trump's order was a common sense response to real, proven threats. Just last year, the Wall Street Journal reported that the United States seized a Chinese-built transformer because officials believe its electronics had been secretly given malicious capabilities, possibly allowing a distant adversary to monitor or even disable it on command. Cybersecurity expert Joseph Weiss reported that officials found electronics that should not have been part of the transformer, hardware backdoors, that could allow the Chinese to effectively gain control of the transformers without any network forensics being the wiser.
And that's from the Washington Examiner. So as we are lamenting over the former United States of America, and as we still have the vitriol in the sting of the article that Norm just read, I want you guys, if you are discerning at all, to look up order number 202-21-1 from the U.S. Department of Energy, which absolutely coincides with what Norm just read from the National Examiner, because what is happening, there were dozens of articles I pined over and I wanted to go through, but I thought, what is the most effective thing that we can do to illustrate that we are now in the New World Order? America has lost its control. We are no longer the United States of America that we have known. We are now into this eschatological point where these things that have been foretold, I genuinely believe, are going to start to become more and more a reality. I'm sorry, I don't want to be that way. I just call it like I see it.
We had a good run.
The beautiful thing is that empires rise and fall, countries come and go, but the idea of freedom and self-governance and liberty and what America was all about and founded on and stood for, that is sexy. That is appealing. Freedom and being able to make your own decision. We're talking 1976 Pam Grier, coffee, Foxy Brown sexiness right there.
Everything that they accuse Trump of with the Chinese, the Russians, the Ukrainian, all that stuff is everything thing that they accuse him of is what they're doing.
Well, it goes back to the Saul Alinsky tactics.
Sleight of hand, magicians,
Right.
sorcery, witchcraft.
As above, so below.
From Proverbs 6, verses 16 through 19. These 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to him. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord amongst the brethren. I don't know, call me crazy. Does that maybe not apply a little bit to everything we've been talking about this morning?
Things that make you go,
Things that make you go. Things that make you go.
Here's a quote from one of Bill's heroes. Every time we witness an injustice and do not act, we train our character to be passive in its presence and thereby eventually lose all ability to defend ourselves and those we love. In a modern economy, it is impossible to seal oneself off from injustice. If we have brains or courage, then we are blessed and called on not to frit these qualities away, standing agape at the ideas of others, winning pissing contests, improving the efficiencies of the neo-corporate state, or immersing ourselves in obscuranta, but rather to prove the vigor of our talents against the strongest opponents of love we can find. If we can only live once, then let it be a daring adventure that draws on all our powers. Let it be with similar types whose hearts and heads we may be proud of. Let our grandchildren delight and find the start of our stories in their ears, but the endings all around in their wondering eyes. The whole universe, or the structure that perceives it, is a worthy opponent, but try as I may, I cannot escape the sound of suffering. Perhaps as an old man, I will take great comfort in pottering around in a lab and gently talking to students in the summer evening, and will accept suffering with insouciance. But not now. Men in their prime, if they have convictions, are tasked to act on them. Julian Assange.
I mean, and this is a guy who literally did that, and he's been paying a very heavy toll. And one of my biggest complaints with Trump is he didn't pardon Assange, he didn't pardon Snowden, who are, in my mind, great purveyors of liberty and justice in this time.
I just wonder sometimes, like, what I don't know, man. It just makes me think what's going to happen. You know, what is our role going to be as the United States diminishes more and more, you know? What's going to happen to people like us who aren't going to just fall in line? You know what I'm saying?
You want to know?
Yeah.
We're going to end up in the modern equivalent of concentration camps. We will be tortured, we'll be executed.
Yay!
No, and I say that based on history, and I say that based on, you know, the plans that I don't know any gun owner that's just going to, let me rephrase that. I know very, very few gun owners that are going to willingly surrender that. It's like
It's gonna get ugly.
but that's by design, and that's why I rail so hard against these things, because we stand now. There will be opposition, but it will be light in comparison to what's coming.
And the problem is that they have everything set up. They have the news on their side. They have now the government, completely unbridled, unchecked, and unbalanced government on their side. So when the good-hearted, red-blooded American men, like one that I talked to last night, which I won't give his name, talk about the fact that, you know, there were going to be some men who were going to stand up and not willingly lay down, it's not going to be seen as the War for Revolution back in 1773 or whenever it started. It's going to be seen as an evil insurrection. They have the media. They have the way to make this look however they want to present it, and they're going to present it to the common masses who they already know they can dupe, because history is going to repeat itself, and people are going to say, look at all these evil men out there trying to tear down our country.
And the other thing is that not only do we know from trial and error from a lot of these gentlemen that we previously spoke of, we also understand that we have the prophetic foresight of the eschatological books of the Bible that has long foretold these things. And there is nothing pleasant about the fate that awaits us.
Like, as a child, when I was growing up, I'm thinking, how do we get to a place where not Christians in like the Christianese sense, but like good Christian men and women are called hate mongers? And as a child, I thought, it doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, here it is. It's a fact. It's a fact. But we are. I mean, just for being a Christian, you will be judged like Christ foretold it. He said, just as I am judged, one day you will be judged. Christ was really honest about it.
Right, and you know that, and Norm knows that, and like Jason knows that. This is my perplexity. This is my struggle. How do we awake our fellow countrymen? Please, we are sheep being led to the slaughter. I don't know how to wake people up.
You think about the Spanish flu, the pandemic, which was a real pandemic.
Yeah.
It killed like 50 million people in 3 months or something. If it was something like that, you wouldn't have to tell the American people to wear masks. You wouldn't have to tell the American people to close their businesses for a little bit. You wouldn't have to tell us anything. We would do it. If it was something that was killing millions of people and spreading like wildfire
Globally.
You wouldn't have to order us to do anything. We would do the right thing.
Right, I mean, if someone comes to your house with weapons, you protect your house and home.
Yeah, I mean,
it's called nature. It's a natural reaction to.
But I think it also goes to the heart of what we're talking about with Americans. I believe what you're saying is absolute veritas. They were talking 15 days of flatten the curve because 3 to 4% of the population are going to be decimated. And here we are almost a year later. Now we are at where we're at. It just stinks because I know God has providence, and I know that if we are obeying him to the best of our ability and we are walking in his word to the best of our ability, he's going to have his magnificent hand of providence upon us individually. However, that doesn't mean that we are going to not get wet as we are going through the storm.
In this world, you will have tribulation. In this world, you will have to suffer. Fear not, I've overcome the world.
All the disciples were martyred. All of the founding fathers of this country were martyrs. I mean, we're going to need people like that in this day and age.
That's a good segue, Norm. We're going to get into some of these founding fathers' statements. However, there is a famous quote by Marcus Aurelius Cicero, and it's the enemy at the gates quote. Look that up because it's so apropos to what we're talking about. It talks about the enemy isn't necessarily at the gates. The enemy is within. And what we see now in America, we have allowed and we have chosen and we are embracing these people who are our inferiors to govern us. And we are going to get what we deserve. Well, let's just get into some of these quotes. I'm going to start one off. The secret of freedom lies in educating people, whereas the secret of tyranny is in keeping them ignorant. Maximilian Robespierre. And I think that is such a simple and profound thing because knowledge is freedom. Knowledge is power. When you watch these talking boxes in your living room and these portable devices that you take with you, they are telling you lies. It's this Project Mockingbird, Tokyo Rose.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
There you go. You should never be ashamed to admit that you have been wrong. It only proves that you are wiser today than yesterday. And that was Jonathan Swift said that. And
No
I think
relation to?
T. Swift, I don't think so.
But a constitution of government once changed from freedom can never be restored. Liberty once lost is lost forever. John Adams, 1775.
Oh, son of a bitch.
He's right.
This is not a single instance in history in which civil liberty was lost and religious liberty preserved entire. If therefore we yield up our temporal property, we at the same time deliver the conscience into bondage. John Witherspoon.
God grants that not only the love of liberty, but a thorough knowledge of the rights of man may pervade all the nations of the earth, so that a philosopher may set his foot anywhere on its surface and say, "This is my country." Benjamin Franklin. Timid men prefer the calm of despotism to the boisterous sea of liberty. Thomas Jefferson.
I love that.
Liberty is the power to do everything that does not interfere with the rights of others. Thus, the exercise of the natural rights of every individual has no limit save those that assure to other members of society the enjoyment of the same rights. Thomas Paine.
Wow, we lost that.
Last episode, we talked about classical liberalism. That is the heartbeat of classical liberalism as described to us by one of my favorite founding fathers.
Talk about the American spirit and the will to fight and the men that stood up against tyranny and stuff. And where is that American spirit today?
How do we awaken and stoke the fire of that American spirit that you're talking about?
I love that what you just did, Norm. The Thomas Paine quote that's fantastic.
What's going on today, this deceptive negative outlook on this beautiful country that was divinely inspired and divinely fought for good, godly, positive reasons. When I hear about people talking about rewriting the Constitution and we should start over and the Great Reset and all this stuff, because the founding fathers were racist, evil men, which for the most part is not true. But I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to get together a group of perfect men this time? And what would they write this time? Maybe that all men are
created with or without genitalia.
Yeah.
A man, a woman.
Man, a woman.
But literally, how can you get any more beautiful and divinely inspired than all men are created equally, endowed by their creator with inalienable rights, and have the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness? Like,
and
you can't get any better than that.
We weren't perfect people, and we weren't even listening to ourselves when they wrote this, because clearly it took some time for people to get it right. But it's the spirit of deception, and
I've said this before, but is America perfect? No. But if you have a house, if you have a broken window or a leaky roof, are you going to call a bulldozer in and tear it down and then dig up the foundation and start all over. No, you're going to patch the roof, paint the ceiling, get the window replaced or fix the window. If America's a house, let's fix it. You don't bulldoze the whole thing and dig up the foundation and start over.
The country had some warts.
The interesting thing is, like, people always say, well, they own slaves, they're racist. Listen, slavery is an abomination to the image and likeness of God. I would go that far to say that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that a large number of people during the Constitutional Convention didn't want to have slavery, but it was the southern states who...
Democrat.
Thank you. Who... that's a historical fact.
Yeah.
That's a historical fact that often gets overlooked. Let me just hit this one real quick. It says, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary security deserve neither their liberty nor their safety. Benjamin Franklin. And I believe that kind of comes full circle to where we're at with this. What I take away from that is there's no perfect man. And I'm sorry, but you can even look at the most popular president that's ever lived, and even he's not perfect. Yeah. Or you can look at Orange Man Bad, and he's not perfect. And I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No, you're listening to this. I'm sorry to be that guy, but you're not perfect. However, there is the idea of the spiritual, emotional, and cultural evolution that as individuals and as cultures and countries go through. The spirit of Americanism will never die, because that is a spirit of liberty. That is a spirit of freedom. That is a spirit that Christ said, it is for liberty, it is for freedom that he has set us free. But America, the United States of America, is now
in the process of going tits up.
No.
You think it's already there. But
we're already there.
One way, or it's semantics. One way or another, we're either breathing our last vapors or we're there already. But
okay, so I would say this, going back to our notes. We have had that constrictor wrap around us, and they're squeezing.
It may take the fall of a nation to bring people to Christ.
And that's the thing.
I got family members that need Jesus, so if whatever it takes, I guess,
Final thoughts.
Closing thoughts. I got this. We need more God.
More God.
We need people to read your history, understand the Constitution, as William likes to say, read your Bible, understand God's Constitution.
Which, oddly enough, kind of mirrors
each other.
Yeah,
The founding fathers use that as a blueprint. Use the Bible as their blueprint. It's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
It's so coincidental.
No, know the truth. These are the times that try men's souls. We're going up against it. We're oppressed. It's a dark time, but be a light. Be a light in a dark world. Try and save as many people as you can.
Norman.
I think about the people that in my life that I care for deeply, people in my family who are deceived and believing the lies. And what I would say to them is, I would say hit your knees and pray and ask God to remove the veil that's over your heart and over your eyes, and that he would allow you to see the truth. Nothing is more perplexing than seeing people you love being deceived. So we need more God. And we need a t-shirt that says so.
Well, oddly enough, someone's designed one. Just someone who has a contact hasn't. He's up on the mothership again. So
he's being probed.
COVID testing. I wonder if COVID.
Why has it got to be a mothership? Maybe it's a fathership.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an it ship.
A mothership.
Maybe it's a non-binary, non-identified.
The non-identifiable beings with the rubber gloves were surprisingly gentle.
One nation under a curse.
They don't have genitalia.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, we can't even convince people that snuffing out innocence is a bad thing.
I almost made it through this one without any duct tape, Bill.
You sow the wind, you're going to reap the whirlwind. Yeah. Please subscribe. Please share. We need your help. If you like what we're saying, please let people know about us. And
I like what you're saying.
What I like about Flawedcast. Not much. If you like what we're doing, please share. Please subscribe. We're currently anywhere that you can listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify. We're currently on YouTube. This one might not be. We'll see. We are on Rumble, Flawedcast. It's Flawedcast CLE. Our website is flawedinc.com. Still doing my daily vlogs. You can find there. If you like those, please share, please comment. We are everywhere on the Project Mockingbird social media. You can find us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're doing well on Gab and MeWe. But thank you for listening. Thank you for suffering our tomfoolery.
Enduring us.
Yeah.
Regulators!
Mount up.
So come on, man. Let me sniff you first.
Come on, man.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Play Shoots and Ladders.
And then we'll play Sorry.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Joe. I already am. All right, Norman, how about you?
You're the official intro dude now.
Flawedcast, episode number 68. The Dodo Bird and Python. An I should have practiced that first.
Anthropological.
Anthropological
Juxtaposition.
Anthropological juxtaposition. Where's Jason?
2 hours of sleep is not doing you pretty good.
Okay. You want me to read big words on 2 hours of sleep?
Oh, I'm sorry, brother.
An Oh, shoot.
That might be your You're hitting Jeff. I got a very bad feeling about this.
Okay. An anthropologist. Dude, you gotta do it. I can't, man. Flawedcast numbers. I literally feel like I'm on a sitcom blooper reel right now. How do you say that? Uyghur?
Uyghur.
Mm-hmm. I was a Uyghur in high school.
Yeah.
All right. Uyghur.
Our norm is now white.
I can bust a sag like the best of them.
I always just thought inform the public about things, and then that would percolate up into government and into governance, and then we would be able to stand up against tyranny and take action against the globalist. And I'm almost tempted right now with the news I have that I've been working on the last hour to just not do the show today. Because I'm not putting the audience down. We cover so much hardcore stuff here, but we're here every day. No one kind of takes it serious. We just drop bomb after 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 bomb. But familiarity breeds contempt. And I get it. I have contempt for myself too. I don't realize how important we are in the great work we've done. I understand that. Distance makes the heart grow fond. Familiarity breeds contempt, and no one is going to care. It's always the same. If it's total proof of just absolute evil that will destroy the enemy, no one cares. If it's some vague Q thing, or somebody saw the Virgin Mary in a piece of toast or something, then it's the most important thing in the world. Because here's the deal. I'm not just going to sit here and put this information out and just have nothing happen. I'll quit today. I want to walk away from this place so bad because we have all the evidence of what the enemy's done, and no one does shit with it. Nothing. I don't know why people don't have an instinct to victory, but it's incredible. What am I talking about? What's the big news? No one cares. I shouldn't even say it, probably. I mean, we could have the keys to put Lucifer into the pit of hell. No one would care. They'd be busy getting their frickin' nails done. Oh, my God. Fine, if America wants that, then frickin' have it. If you want your power turned off by the Department of Energy, then enjoy it. God, this country's totally effed, man. God almighty, let it all burn then. I mean, we can't even admit aborting babies is murder, so we don't deserve to have power. All right, the United States is being taught to be a third world country. We're being taught to have no borders and a collapsing power grid. It's all by design, it's all public, and just with the public like zombies everywhere. Just like walking into globalist machine gun fire. And then that weird reanimated corpse, Biden stumbling around up there, just all of it, it's a joke. Because people are unconscious from watching TV and playing on their phones all day. It manipulates all the dopamine receptors where people think that's the real world, and the real world, they're all, ooh, like this. And I just don't want to be around this anymore.